Hi guys, today we're gonna talk about American TV show called This Is Us, Murakami book,
Called Kafka on the Shore.
and Korean movie called Call.
Or The Call, depends on the country.
What?
In some countries it's called Call, in some countries it's called The Call.
The Call. Like
The Call.
there's this TV show Dark, and some people sometimes say not dark, but the dark, because they think that it's the dark, but it's not the dark, it's just dark.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's like a good transition to the film The Call.
신기하네. 진짜 바뀌었네.
By accident, you have named one key element of this film, and it's like this sort of time travel stuff.
Wow,
That's really
okay.
interesting about this film. It's like a thriller, it's like a horror film in parts, and it's like a really fun film to watch. I wouldn't say it's like completely deep that explains all the backstory or how this process works, but it's really a film that you can enjoy while watching really much. And why is this the case? This is the case because the actors are fantastic. We have here Chun Chon-seo, which some people might know from the film Burning, where she made her acting debut, and now I guess this is her second film that's being released. It should be released in the Korean cinemas, but due to COVID, once again, it was released on Netflix. It's a story about two people living in the same house, but a time apart, like 20 years, I guess, apart. And by accident, they find a connection between each other. They can talk to each other, and they influence the present and the past of each other. And since both characters have fairly dramatic life stories and a lot of problems to deal with, they of course use this power to change their lives for the better. And that is what you would say a benefit for both parties. But of course it doesn't work this way, and it all turns really bad quite fast. So it's really fun, really entertaining to watch that. And there's a lot of twists in this story. Great acting, it's fun to watch it, and the surrealistic, like kind of fantasy, sci-fi, time travel stuff is done with really good CGI, so that's really fun as well. The critique point might be that it's not really a concept that is explained, like for example in a Christopher Nolan film where time...
Or in Dark.
Yeah, or in Dark, like time stuff would always be completely explained. But still, it's really fun to watch. I would recommend it to you and to you at home as well.
진짜 네가 그랬구나. 너 내가 찾아서 죽여버렸어.
But I have a question, because very usually when I watch Korean movies, how the movie are made are very like not realistic, you know, like a little bit.
I know what you mean, yeah. There's a really special Korean way of filmmaking that is influenced, I guess, by Korean dramas, where there are a lot of emotions and it's a bit over dramatic at times, but that's the fun of these dramas. But there are also the really high budget films, Korean films, that of course have like a deeper story that are not over the top. And with this one, I would say it's a mixture. You know, it's not like as deep or uses metaphors or society critical stuff like, for example, Parasite. Not that way, but it's also not too cheesy or something. It's like really well done, and the emotions are well transported. The story is well told.
There's one TV show I want to recommend you. I'm watching this TV show since some time, and the title is This Is Us.
There is not a single day that goes by that I don't think of the child I lost. Go see your babies. They're excited to meet their father.
It's normal drama about family, so you don't have like a lot of science fiction, time travels and so on. On the other hand, you have a lot of play with time, because the story is about family, Pearson's family and their friends also, and tells a story of the parents and their 3 children, and the whole story is told through generations, through the years. For example, in the episode you have some story that is like told in 3 time dimensions, you know, that for example you have the young parents and the children that are small, but in the same episode you see them as adult, and the whole story is connected, like what happened in the past and what's happening.
So
happening
also
right
sort
now.
of like this butterfly effect stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
Like in The Call also.
Yeah, because like something happened and it has some kind of effect later, even if, you know, something was very small.
How just like that, a complete stranger can become such a big part of your story.
They really like playing with our expectations, because editing is something that is very great in this TV show. You have like some scenes of the characters from the past, and when you know what happened in the past, you can have some expectation what will happen now, but then you just find out that the part you were seeing was the time that... The first time I heard about This Is Us TV show, I thought that it's gonna be like this kind of cheesy drama. This kind of show are not really realistic and very deep, like...
Yeah, like drama.
You get like
soap opera.
Soap opera. You get like hundreds, thousands of episodes, and the story is just terrible and something.
Yeah, because they don't actually know what will happen over the long term. They're just writing each episode after it's done.
In this case, it's just like story that was planned at the beginning, and I can say that it's very deep in this case, because like you get a lot of normal people problems. For me, this TV show is totally emotional. Like, I don't know, when I watch every episode, I'm like crying every time, or have like some slightly tears, because like it's very emotional, because it seems like so real and you are very attached.
And that doesn't go over the top over the time? Like it's when I see a series and in each episode it would be like something so bad is happening and it's emotional, doesn't that go over the top like if it's in every episode?
Of course, not in every episode, but mostly, of course, it depends on your level maybe of emotions or how you see this TV show. In first 3 seasons, you get to know the whole family very well, all the characters, all their problems, and like I was watching recently the 4th season, for me, which is the best. Of course, it's the best because there were the previous seasons before, which made the season 4 like very wonderful, because you already knew the characters. And in the season 4, they started to putting a lot of issues that weren't mentioned before. I think that the good thing this TV show is doing, for example, for the audience in, I don't know, America, who are watching this TV show, is that you get a lot of topics, so people can, for example, open their minds wider to notice some problems, to be more aware and or acceptable for different kind of situations. Like, I consider this as a very clever, smart, beautiful story, which is very real. This is this kind of TV show that while you are watching the episodes, of course, you have different emotions, like, of course, sadness, happiness, but at the end, it leaves you with a very nice feeling. Like, I think like
wholesome.
It makes you better somehow, like some kind of catharsis during watching.
Okay. What was the last season?
Now there is a season 5, I'm currently watching this, and also it's very interesting because, as I mentioned, season 4, the creators showed us a new fields of problems and so on. And in season 5, they started to talk about modern issues.
What we're dealing with as a people, it's just so tragic. But
Black Lives Matter protests and COVID situation. For me, it's very sad to watch in This Is Us COVID situation, because, you know, like, this is something you don't want to see in the TV show. You want to forget.
Especially while we're still in this crisis.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to watch movies about COVID when you have to deal with this every time, but because this TV show has so big audience, it's good that they're talking about these issues, and also, like I said before, people are more aware. So I just recommend you, like, this is the time that's not gonna be wasted for sure. You just need to check the first episode, and I think that you're gonna love it.
So the last thing that we're going to talk about today is the book I just finished. It's by the praised and by some people also disliked author Haruki Murakami. Some people call his books random, and others praise him for his very distinct writing style. And I think both of these elements are somehow part of this book, Kafka on the Shore. People who have read Murakami books before will definitely like this book because it has all these typical Murakami elements, like magical realism, surrealistic stuff that's happening, a character analysis, story where you don't really know what's happening next, and of course talking cats, or cats in general. This book is in my opinion quite interesting and quite easy to read because it's like all the time quite interesting what's happening next, but at the same time it's not like difficult writing style like also typical for Murakami.
For me, Murakami is always like very easy to read, and like I think that reading Murakami is more like pleasure than mind effort.
What's typical for Murakami, for example, is that he connects his books with different culture stuff. Like for example, he's talking about writing about music in his books. He's writing about certain films and actors sometimes.
Yeah, this is something I really like in Murakami because, like, for example, I collect vinyl records, and like in his books or short stories, you always have these moments when he is like playing some classical music and he's making description that he's like turning the vinyl and so on, and I really enjoy cooking.
I think that really adds like a mood to the book because while I was reading a book, I looked up the music that's been mentioned in the book, and that really gave me a better feeling of how the characters are feeling. And especially here, you've got good character development, that the characters have a very different starting point and a good ending where they have an outlook. So I guess that's different to other Murakami books probably because some of them are a bit vague, you know. But this one is still quite vague, but it shows us like it's a pleasure to see that the characters are going from this point to somewhere else and have evolved through the process. And that's like a key feature of this book, like evolving, maybe growing up, developing.
Yeah, but mostly now I think that characters in Murakami's books are not developing so often. Because like developing is something that is very normal, and in every story you have this development of the characters, but I think by the books I read, like the characters like never changed so much.
Yeah, but that's here totally different. Like you see a construct of people that are also connected through a prophecy, in some ways benefit each other or fit like a puzzle together in general. So I think it's also like you end this book with happiness, I think. Like Murakami can also be quite sad and quite dark in some cases. So, and especially some books or some stories by Murakami leave you with a feeling of feeling lost, of not knowing what happened, of wanting to know more, or you have to worry a bit about what you read. But with this book, you still don't know what was real, if it was supposed to be real, how to view this, what maybe the stuff from the books are maybe also like psychological stuff that is expressed through surrealism. But at the end, you have a feeling that the characters have gone somewhere, and you can see that you can feel the change.
Okay guys, this is everything for this episode. In the comment section you can also share your thoughts or recommend something to us and other people, because it's Culture Clash. It's all about clashing our opinions and ideas, what to read, what to watch.
I hope you enjoyed it, and we see you next week.
Tschüss.
Tschüss.